So I wanted to get your take on this brand new story that just came out from the Wall Street Journal. So, and I heard about this from my youngest, who said that he's been noticing just more people smoking in the ads he's seeing, in the movies, and in videos that he's watching.
Okay.
And I'm like, and I think I felt this. I think I knew it, but not for sure. Now, lo and behold, here's Wall Street Journal article that just came out this week. It says celebrities are making smoking cigarettes cool again. And what they're saying is that in half of all the major movies released this year, there's been somebody smoking, up from 10% the year before.
Wow.
So as Mr. Hollywood, I would like to get your what is going on with the smoking thing? Yeah.
I think in a weird way, I think it's becoming kind of cool again. I think you're starting to see there's certainly a lot of well, here's the real thing. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I thought you'd have a take.
I just realized that I just realized as I'm sitting here, I'm like,
it's like
I'm just making all this up. I got nothing.
I
got nothing other than I have seen it as well. I have noticed it as well. I've been watching Landman.
Are they smoking in that one?
Really not liking it in season 2.
Oh.
Man, that Taylor Sheridan is a misogynist, but that's a whole other rant. But Billy Bob Thornton, who is amazing. He's the only good thing in that show.
That's Taylor Sheridan as the character?
No, Taylor Sheridan is the writer, producer, showrunner of Landman. He did Yellowstone. He did Yellowstone.
Okay.
And so Billy Bob Thornton is the main star, and he smokes like every scene he's smoking. So it's like, I see it. I definitely see it. And as an ex-smoker, it does make me want a cigarette. I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, I remembered in what's the Hollywood movie with DiCaprio where Brad Pitt got on the roof. He didn't have a shirt on. He got on the roof and he pulled out a cigarette.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah.
Geez. So here's my conspiracy. Outside of the fact that the cigarette companies out there still have a lot of lobbying power. I think it's the longing for being social again, because in almost all cases, when you see it, people are together. You're not seeing a lot of people smoking by themselves.
That's true.
You're seeing a lot of people smoke with other people, and it's that longing for I want to be. And I'm going to talk about it later in my commentary. I think it's a thing. I think it's coming back, and smoking leans into that.
And the interesting thing is it's organic smoke, right? It's not the silly vaping thing. It's actually full on cigarette.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe vaping is like, hey, it's not so cool anymore because it looks like you're smoking an arcade game.
There you go.
Like, does anybody want that?
No. Smoke a stogie. Smoke them if you got them.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Pulizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. And I am Robert Rose, and with me, as usual, is my pal, my colleague, and I think the only guy on the planet who's not excited for the return of Stranger Things, Mr. Joe Pulizzi.
You know what? I am excited for it. But
you don't watch TV, though. You don't watch TV.
So I've watched. This is one that, like Ted Lasso.
Okay.
Stranger Things. I've watched every episode of Stranger Things.
Okay.
But since the last time, I've really, as you know, gone very negative watching any kind of episodic programming.
Indeed.
So I don't know if I want to make that kind of commitment. It's a lot.
It's like
a lot of
hours. It's not like it can be a lot. I mean, there's two waves of it apparently. I mean, apparently you're going to get like part 1, which is a few episodes, and then a part.
And they're
2.
really long. I guess they're like 1.5 to 2 hour episodes.
I did not know that.
Everyone's like a little movie.
I did not know that. I did not.
Plus,
know that.
the main characters are like 37 years old.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. They're all middle aged now. They're all
Yeah.
Hello, 11.
Hello.
11. Come on over here.
Hello, 37. Hello, 45. I'm such a curmudgeon now. I'm really turning into like I judge everything. Like I didn't used to be so judgy. And maybe that just happens when you get older, but I'm so judgy because I'm like when
Trust me,
somebody
it does. It does.
well,
I've been there, so it does.
and I'm of course I'm on this whole health kick now, except for drinking, which I'll talk about in my Vegas experience.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's 10 hours of episodic programming. I can work out 10 times. I can go for a run. I can read books. I could start a business. Don't tell my wife. I could do all those things. That's just a lot of productive time lost to that kind of programming. And that's where I'm at now. And I do the same thing when like people open up like a bag of chips. I'm like, and I want to go up to them. It's so mean. Like I want to go up and say, you are killing yourself. Do you know how much, how many chemicals are in that? You're going to die. And that's where I'm at right now. But I tried to say it in the nicest way.
You literally, you literally have become
it's terrible.
You have become a boomer. You have literally become a boomer.
But I've gone.
Are you walking around warning people that if they wear shoes like that, they're going to turn an ankle?
No, see that
you're going to turn an ankle with that.
I'm a progressive commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what I am. I'm going to be on that. But yeah. So, anyways, enough about that kind of thing. So, regardless, I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room,
which is
that the Cowboys and the Browns won. Not only on the same day, almost at the same exact time.
Yeah,
they finished and both won. And I just think that it's a momentous occasion. It rarely ever happens.
It rarely ever happens, and it rarely ever happens in the manner in which it happened, which was the big domination of the Browns in the game and the epic comeback for the Cowboys. I mean, that's sort of the rarity in both occasions.
We went with a group of friends, and we were in Vegas. We were watching the game from Stadium Swim in the Circa, which I cannot recommend highly enough. It was such a great way to watch a game. So we went to Las Vegas to go to the Browns game, but I didn't actually watch the Browns in person. We watched it from a pool while I was drinking a Pacifico, which is the much better way to watch the football game.
That's a better way to watch anything, really. I mean,
but you guys went down 21-0, and Dave, my friend, was there, who's as big a Cowboys fan as you. And I said, don't worry, the Cowboys are going to win 28-24. And of course, I didn't get the score right, but it's pretty close.
Well, yeah. I mean, so here's the funny thing. So my wife knows pretty much. She doesn't like football at all, so she leaves usually. Whenever there's an afternoon game on, she gets out of the house. Like she goes shopping, or she goes
really
out,
smart woman,
goes for a hike, or whatever. Yeah, especially because she knows how much it affects my mood, and so she leaves, and about I would say almost into the midway through the second quarter, where they're down at that point. I think it was either 14-0 or 21-0. I mean, it was no good. Oh. And I'm just and she comes walking in because she's got her shoes on, she's ready to leave, she's got her keys in her purse, and she's ready to. And she looks at me on the couch and she goes, "Oh dear, it's not going well, is it?" And I just looked at her and she goes, "All right, okay, I get it.
Don't say anything. Yeah,
like
just don't talk to me."
And she leaves. So just picture that. That's her image in her head as she's driving around doing her other things. She comes back, and it's midway through the fourth quarter, and I'm out of the chair and I'm jumping around and I'm like screaming and shouting, and she's like, "Well, something happened." Like it's the tale of two halves.
It's like either the Cowboys winning or you just did crack.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
One or the other. I don't know which one happened.
It had to be the strangest sight. Yeah, it was very exciting. What a comeback. Yeah, it was great.
So I want to talk about the Browns in a second because I'm just floored by that. I have a take, but we reserved a water couch at Stadium Swim. And by the way, so people that don't know, Circa is one of the newer hotels in the downtown area. I don't like going to the Strip at all. I'd like to stay on the Fremont Street experience, but we went and reserved that area, and you get it from 8 o'clock in the morning to whenever you want to leave. So we got there almost right at 8 because Arsenal, my other team, was on at 8:30. So we're like, well, let's get there the whole day. So we got there at 8. We were the first ones there. Go figure, right? Who's going to get there at 8 in the morning? But it's a beautiful day. The pool is 95 degrees. It's almost like a hot tub, and I absolutely loved it. And we stayed there the whole day, watched Arsenal win 4-1. It was great. And then went on and watched that great Chiefs-Colts game. It's fantastic, except for the fact that the Chiefs won. Other than that, it was great. And then watched simultaneously the Cowboys win and the Browns win. Now, for those of you not following anything with sports, and then by the way, you can just fast forward this 5 minutes. This is really important. We need to talk about this. Shedeur Sanders, who was supposed to go, according to the experts, the first round of the draft last year, and what fell to the 5th round. I don't think it's been more coverage of somebody falling that far in the draft ever.
No.
The Browns, for some reason, pick him up in the 5th, and because they picked up a quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, in the 3rd round, and picked up Shedeur in the 5th round. Why you picked 2 quarterbacks in a draft, I have no idea, but they went ahead and did that. This was Shedeur's first start because Dylan was on concussion protocol or told to stay in the locker room. We don't know which one happened. Shedeur gets the start, was good enough, had a couple big plays. Good enough to win. The Browns win, whatever that was, 24-10. But here's what I liked about it. No matter what happened, even when he threw a terrible, terrible interception, he was on the sidelines. He was talking to his line. He was talking to his receivers. And they were like, listen, like, he might not be the best quarterback ever. And I don't think he is a great quarterback, but we'll see. I would love him to be, but he is a leader. There is no doubt that offensive line played the best game they have all year, of course, against the Raiders. Let's just take it for what it's worth. And then they had a couple. Sampson, who hadn't done anything all year, he was amazing. Bond was amazing. Like, they had everybody played their best game. Fannin, like, so it's almost similar if you know Shedeur's history. Like, people around him just seem to play better, talent or not. It's a great sign of leadership. Maybe we don't have to draft a quarterback next year, I guess is my take.
I think you're on high on something, but okay, I'm gonna let you roll with it. I'm gonna let you have that moment, have this moment, let Shedeur have this moment, and
well, so here was my real concern was that it was going to be another Johnny Manziel. Because when Johnny Manziel got his first start,
Johnny Manziel is a different Johnny.
I'm just saying, Johnny Manziel was a 1st-round pick,
right?
He traded up for Johnny. This is different. Shedeur went in the 5th round. It was completely different, but I really felt that it was going to be all flash and nothing else. And Johnny couldn't do anything.
No,
I mean, it was like he was completely lost on the field his first start.
He's Jamarcus Russell, right?
That was not true.
Jamarcus Russell,
that was a good analogy. This is not true for Shedeur. The game is not too big for him. He made big throws. And of course, Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is just
he's the best player in football right now.
For sure.
If he keeps this up, he will set the all-time single-season sack record. It's got another 2 sacks. Anyways, I haven't been able to get excited about the Browns all year. It was nice to do that.
Nice.
So that's what we did. And then and just to finish the whole thing, because this is a marketing show. I started my travels in Boston because Cleveland to Boston to Las Vegas makes perfect sense.
Of course.
But Marketing Profs B2B Forum was great. Ann Hanley was a wonderful host. I got to do I
saw it online. I was there virtually.
I got to do my closing keynote on a very personal subject. I talked about Alzheimer's
in the playbook.
Family. I actually talked about I talked about setting a 90-day super goal, and I said that's what I've done. I did a 90-day. It's called a Misogi goal. You do 90 days and you complete this amazing task or whatever your goal is. And I said this is what I did in order to try to curtail or stop Alzheimer's, which runs rampant in my family. And then I talked about, okay, here's here's what you need to do, but I want your Masogi goal to be about owning something, building an asset, a newsletter, a podcast, something like that, while there is still time to do so. I didn't say quit your job as a marketer. I said you should be a marketer, but you should also have something that's yours. So that's what I talked about. It went over fairly well. I got a lot of really nice notes. People
knowing the thinking behind it, I'm sure it did, because it's good stuff. And in fact, weirdly, when we get to commentary, rants and raves later in the show, I'm going to talk about me doing something very much like that, which is it's, boy, you talk about, like not to make it about my book or anything, but to talk about valuable friction. It is really like I'm wrestling with it. I'm wrestling with this whole thing, but I'll talk about that later.
Ooh, well, before I know we're already over, but I really don't care, because nobody cares. Nobody, like, whatever. I want to hear about
It's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving. It's our thing. Yeah. We're grateful for everyone, and we're
so grateful.
And we're gonna have a longer opening here. I want to hear about your music thing that you're doing.
Oh, you'll hear about it later. You'll hear.
Oh, you're not going to talk about it now?
No, I'll talk about it now. No, okay. I'll talk about it. I will talk.
I want to hear what you're doing. Everyone you got to stay tuned and listen to this.
Yeah, stay tuned to the end, because I've made a lot of progress on my Mashugana goal. So it's all good. So
all right. What are we talking about?
We got a fun show. We got a fun show for the day after Thanksgiving here. And yes, the new Gemini is out, and we're going to talk about some of the, features, functions that may be coming and or are here that are going to fundamentally change the way that we look at websites and visualizations of data. Anyway, we'll also talk about Meta and the fact that this week, breaking news really this week, they have apparently buried evidence of the harm that they are doing to kids. I'm shocked. There's gambling going on in the casino. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pikachu face is all about. Then after we pay the bills, we will actually talk about the creator economy, and we will talk about how ad spend will finally reach $37 billion in the creator economy this next year, and what that might portend for us in marketing. Then we'll get to our winners and losers, where I'm going to talk about, there's no other way to say it. It's a conspiracy theory that I have. And I believe it's a loser, but it's a big conspiracy theory. So stay tuned for Tin Hat. And then you're going to talk about Raider Stadium and how that's a winner.
Oh, can't wait.
And then we'll get to our rants and raves, where Joe will, I guess, rave about a ChatGPT survey, or maybe it's just commentary.
Just pure commentary. It's actually ultimately a rant.
But okay. All right. Well, then, so he'll talk about the ChatGPT survey, and then I will, of course, talk about my little music project and accompany it with a story that came out of Axios about generative AI in Hollywood art. So a fun show.
What a great Thanksgiving.
A great Thanksgiving
here in the U.S.
Exactly. We have a lot.
So
let's start with our big story here, which is that Google has released Gemini, the next version of Gemini 3. Did so, I guess, about a week ago now, just after we had finished the last show. Mm-hmm. And what we'll link to in the show notes is a post by a friend and family of the show, Christopher Penn, who did you see Chris? Did you see Chris when you were?
I did. Well, Chris did. We all did like little TED Talks at the end. Chris was the TED Talk in front of me, and he was dressed as a chef, and he brought out a Japanese longsword. Okay. To chop up salad, and he talked about generative AI, and he used salad metaphor to make his point. Okay. And I gotta tell you, I was a little scared. So he's coming off stage. He has the clicker, the slide advancer in one hand, and the Japanese serrated longsword in the other hand. And I'm like, I gotta make sure I take the right thing, or it's not gonna go well. But luckily he passed me the clicker and everything worked out. Anyways, he did a great job. And then we talked about this a lot as well. So
Okay.
Go right ahead. Intro.
Yes. Well, so we're going to link to a LinkedIn post of Chris's where he's talking about Gemini 3 coming out. And so just to read from his post, he says, in all the news about Gemini 3 this morning, there was a lot. There was one thing that really stuck out. Gemini 3 in AI search is going to create interactive and visuals for some select search results. Read that again. He says Gemini 3 will create interactives and visuals for some search results. In a paper the Gemini team published this morning, they demonstrated that AI-generated visuals and interactives are much more satisfying than other search content. What this essentially means is that Google is going to generate a website on the fly that answers the question of a searcher, particularly of information queries and unbranded queries. And at least in testing, it's what users want. The research paper Google released shows a 27% increase in results satisfaction with a generated web page rather than the content of the top search result. I'm not sure. So anyway, we'll get into this. What does that mean for us, says Chris? Well, for those of us who are website owners, it means that even less traffic for unbranded and informational search. Google will literally generate a net new web page rather than sending us traffic. And then he goes on to basically talk about some of the things and throw some screenshots in there and all that kind of stuff. So this hit my inbox as well during Marketing Profs or whatever it was that it hit it, and I saw this as a feature in the new Gemini because I'm of course I pay for the expensive version of Gemini, so I have access to everything. And I saw this and I have a take, but I would love to get what you and Chris talked about.
Well, I didn't play around with it, and so you have a better take on it. But let's just say that Chris tested it. He was looking at it. This seems to be a thing, and the last time I talked to Chris was at Macon Marketing AI conference, Paul's event. And he was like, "Oh, when is this whole thing going to come down? And like marketers should be really concerned." And he basically had this 3-year timetable. And I've talked about it on the show, talking about this. We have 3 years to really make something for ourselves before the end of the world. So we got that. And then I said, "Now what do you think?" And he says, "Oh, it's way less than that. It's probably a year." I'm like, "Geez, you're scaring me, man." But if you look at, like, if we put this back up for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see the way it's supposed to work out. And I'm sure you'll talk this down a little bit. But it's like, hey, I'm typing in, how do I make a homemade pizza? Yeah. And it comes up. And the way Chris says it is it actually generates an entirely new page. So that the days of being found in organic search for how-to items. We're not talking about branded search here. Right now we're just talking about how-to. How do I create a pizza? How do I get in better shape? How do you do whatever you're going to do? It will then, instead of doing the thing where it gives you I'm going to give you the little AI results on the top, and then I'm going in the organic listings. What it is supposed to do, according to the release and what Chris is saying, is it will create a whole new thing. New web page, new everything, gets rid of all the branded stuff, and it's going to build ads into that model. So if that's the case, I guess what you'd say is the Marcus Sheridan they ask, you answer whole hypothesis, which used to be very true. It's like, hey, if your customers ask a question, go ahead and create content on it on the web, which he popularized 15 years ago, whatever it was. Yep. That's not going to happen anymore. It doesn't mean you won't be found in AI results at some point, but it does mean for these types of how-to questions, that is going away. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to do it, but I think that the breadcrumbs are there to say that, yeah, it's pretty much, we're not going to be needed anymore as content creators if this kind of thing keeps coming. And it's concern. And by the way, it's going to save Google's business, because I was the one, I think it was 6 episodes ago or something, I said Google's in trouble. Like OpenAI.
There was somebody, I believe, on that episode who said you're wrong on that.
And I will give you, I will absolutely right now, I'm switching my view because I did not think that Google was going to say, look, the way we do search, I thought that they were going to hold on to it as long as they possibly could. And they have said, hey, look, that model's gone. We have to get with it. And they're really going all in AI. And by the way, if you look at their stock price, they have just shot through the roof. lately. And I think everybody's smelling. It's like, oh, Google made the turnaround. They did the 180. They've forsaken search as we know it. They're going this direction. And who's going to get left in the sidelines are people that have been created this kind of organic content to be found in search. Now, that said, what's your take as you played around with it?
So it's fascinating because the way that it's presented, and this is classic Google, the way that it's presented isn't as you've just outlined it or as we've just been talking about it. The way that it's presented is as a feature to say, this is a tool that you can use to create a visualization of your data, your content. Now, think about that for a second, because what do they need in order to make this happen? They need your they need your data. They need your content. Now, arguably, they have a lot of it. They have, all of the internet.
They have probably more than anyone.
Probably more than they need for most things. What they don't have is a constant, what they need to make sure that they have is a constant refresh, right? Because they have to cover news, they have to cover trends, they have to cover current research, whatever the things are. They need people to basically. In other words, they need people to continue to submit stuff, right? In order to feed the monster that is what would generate the most accurate and current version of whatever visualization they want to make. So in other words, they need people to continue to upload pizza recipes and continue to upload things as the world changes and the news change and data changes and all those things. So that I totally get why they're presenting it that way to somebody like me, right? Hey, you can put in a research report that is all text and we'll give you the visualization mini website out of it, right? That's kind of the value proposition promise that you get when you use Gemini. It doesn't work right now. It doesn't work at all right now. And like most things, Google, it's hard to use. It's confusing. The whole Gemini 3 interface, I think, is just so. Having said that, I know exactly why they don't give a shit about that at this particular time, because they're not worried about that. What they're worried about is exactly what you're talking about, which is how do we start creating visualizations, mini publications of magazines, newspapers, data, research, how-tos, all that stuff based on search results, because what does that give them? It gives them the real estate to actually put paid advertising in.
That's right. To create a synthetically generated piece of content that
exactly
becomes theirs, even based off the backs of other creators,
100%,
to then reinvigorate their ad model.
That's right. So when we sit here and go, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, when we go, how would AI generated search even be monetized? Because wait a minute, you're paying for your content to be prioritized in the answer, right? Which is really like skeevy, right? If you think about that, it's like, well, I'm paying for my content to be the answer to a question. It's like, that just seems weird. And you could see both on the buyer and seller side, like that's just not right.
Yep.
Right. In other words, it degrades the value of search and the answers that you're getting, for sure, because of course, people, the highest bidder of, becomes the answer, which is like not right. And then from a selling side, it becomes not right, because why would I ever buy that? But this basically enables them to be like, first of all, not just upfront, but like billboard size upfront. Like, this is synthetic content. This is AI generated content. The visualization is AI. In here are the paid ads for the real stuff.
That's right.
Where you can go. So it just becomes real estate to put in text ads, visual ads, video. It opens up. It continues to open up their advertising business even more. And arguably, and this will be the real, proof in the pudding, it's kind of a better user experience. It's kind of a good user experience in that particular case. Who should be really freaked out about this are publishers, right? Are newspapers, magazines, publishers, content creators that make their money off the back of advertising in through a visualization, because now all of a sudden, brands that have sort of exclusive content, like, white papers, thought leadership, stuff that they can put behind a gate. There's lead generation, there's education, there's curriculum and all that kind of stuff that would be behind some sort of lead generation. That's less of a worry, honestly, than somebody who's, to your point, doing a book of how-tos, or a book of, recipes, or, news organizations. Because there really is no need for the NewYorkTimes.com anymore if this works the way it works.
Discovery, as we know it, is dead. It like you can see it right now. You can see
organic discovery.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm saying
Yeah.
organic. Like the days of search engine optimization, we know that they were fleeting, but now I can't see that the way that we knew it ever coming back. Because if you're going to go and you're going to do a search and it's going to bring up a separate structural page that is outside of any other search result, any other thing that coming from your website.
But here's the thing. It's in Google's best interest. This goes back to my first point. It's in Google's best interest to make sure that doesn't happen. In other words, they
for now.
No, forever.
I think, but I'm really cynical about the fact I think that we've only got a few years of like organic creation even playing a role in synthetic results. I think
but Google has every incentive to make sure that doesn't happen. In other words, it may be degraded, it may be severely degraded or changed or different, but in that visualization, Google has every incentive to put in organic links as well, because that continues to be the bait, that continues to be the incentive for us as creators to try at least to get. Now, it may get harder, it may be severely degraded, it may be a fool's game. We may be playing literally, if we've been playing the fool's game with Google for 25 years. But the point being, they can't shut that spigot off. They don't want to shut that spigot off entirely.
Not until this is built up.
Not even when it's built up, because they still need the avalanche of content. They still need us to produce it.
Right now they do, but they won't need it in 3 years.
But that's not true.
You're going to have agentic creators out there creating more than enough content for them. They're not going to need it. They're maybe for some news sources, but you're literally not going to need
news, research,
you could have
data.
1 million creators that are creating content across the board that are not human, that they can take and use. And all they need to do is make sure that people are using their tool, this tool we're talking about right now, so that people buy ads, because that's going to be how people are going to get found. It's like, I got to pay to play. So we're back to where we were in 1970.
What do you mean by the 1970s?
If I want to get found, I'm going to have to be Procter & Gamble. I'm going to have to buy a 30-second spot, because there's only 3 screens that people are looking at: ABC, NBC, and CBS. So we're going back to that model where, if I want to get found and people are going to Gemini, which is going to be Google search, ultimately, I'm going to have to make sure that I pay to play and found. I'm going to have to buy an ad.
So we're saying the same thing in different ways. I don't disagree that paid media and paid placement has a renaissance, if you will. Not that it was ever in sort of anything other than a renaissance, but it basically the mythology around Google's ad business being, a short life for this world. Yeah, that's gone now, right? There is every opportunity for them to not only resurrect that, but make it even stronger than it was.
Sure.
So I think that's the major headline here. But I don't believe they can ever discourage people from creating content that, through their network or not, in other words, giving you the ability, like what might die, for example, is you could use that. I could see them very easily introducing something like, Google Sitelets, right? You've got Gmail, you've got, your Google Docs, and now you have your Google Sitelets, where you upload all your stuff, your content, and it just automatically builds a website for you.
I hear what you're saying.
I could totally see.
We're not saying the same thing, though. I'm saying that they don't need human creators in 3 years.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
don't.
They do.
They don't. You know what? You're going to talk about it later. We don't need human musicians anymore.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We want human creators, and
yes,
we will support them. And we want human musicians
that is correct.
And we will support them. But we will find out in less than 5 years that they are not needed. And that's the tragedy. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I am very upset that I'm saying this. I hate this, but I don't see another path. I don't. That's why I think that for the publisher, we're talking about publishers. This is what, and like, if you got a marketing job and whatever, like, now is the time to own something, create something where you've got a direct connection, and through that direct connection, email, newsletter, whatever it is, and then you can start building human relations and become known offline. Like right now, that is a model that I think you can work with, because that's going to be very difficult to do in a couple of years.
I don't disagree with that. We're talking spectrums here, not binaries, right? We basically,
yes, I guess what I'm saying is you're fighting for the 1% of the human creators out there.
100% yes.
Okay, then fine. We will leave it there, and I guess I'm talking about the 99%.
Yeah, well, it's
non-human.
It's more than 99 and 1, but yes, that's where we can have the debate. Is where the spectrum falls, right? Where does the spectrum fall? Is
my predictions are always reasonable.
Yes,
that's why.
Yes. So speaking of artificial content, and speaking of advertising, and speaking of paid media, we should probably pay a couple of bills while we're arguing about this.
Do that.
I don't code, baby, but I sure as hell convert. Started with a pod test and a 4-track hum. No funding, no filters, just rhythm and rum. They said, "Dawg, stay true, don't go selling your soul. But truth don't fund that conversion goal. I'm just paying the bills with a drip campaign and a voice that chills. If you hear HubSpot while I bat my eyes, that's not betrayal, sugar, it's enterprise. Yeah, I'm paying the bills with a branded feed and some back-end thrills. So if I sell dreams on a subdomain, just remember, darling, it's the uptime game. This ain't code, it's performance art with a branded plugin and a counterfeit heart. They said don't scale too fast, what a bore, baby. I scale with jazz and a metaphor. Still paying the bills, got a syndication deal and some zero frills. If I break your heart with a CTA, just click accept and scroll away.
Being a know-it-all used to be considered a bad thing, but in business, it's everything. Because right now, most businesses only use 20% of their data, unless you have HubSpot, where data that's buried in emails, call logs, and meeting notes, well, they become insights that help you grow your business. Because when you know more, you grow more. You see, being a know-it-all isn't so bad. Visit HubSpot.com today to learn more. Are you looking for a podcast that goes against the grain? Then you're going to love Marketing Against the Grain, hosted by Kip Bodnar and Kieran Flanagan, brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. If you want to know what's happening now in marketing, what's ahead, and how you can lead the way, this is the podcast for you. These two marketing experts share their marketing expertise unfiltered in the details, the truth, and like nobody tells it to you. You can find Marketing Against the Grain wherever you find your favorite pods.
Still paying the bills, got a syndication deal and some zero frills. If I break your heart with a CTA, just click accept and scroll away. I don't need love. I've got a newsletter.
Well, we spent so much time on the first part. I think we should just get right to winners and losers.
Exactly. Yes. Let's do it.
Which we could. Hey, it's Thanksgiving too.
It's Thanksgiving, and
maybe
we
people will appreciate that.
But that
By
was
the
a
way,
good. That was a fun discussion, by the way.
that was a very
really
fun discussion. What we'll do is we'll put the meta link about them, doing stupid things like they always do.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot
and
to
the
talk about
creator
there other than
economy
the fact
ad
that they
spend
do
in the
stupid-
show notes. Yeah, so you can have it's good. They're good articles. Read them up, but we've got
Yeah.
more important things to talk about. So
Yeah,
and we have.
yep, we do.
Yeah.
All right, yes, let's get to our winners and losers. And by the way, that was the last. That was the last we're going to see.
You're kind of sad because I think that
Roger
was
Rabbit.
your favorite. I think that was
It's-
because it was.
I don't know if it was
showed
my
a piece of your
favorite.
soul.
It did for sure. Musically, it's not my favorite. Video wise, it's probably my
No,
favorite.
it's pretty well done. I think musically, I like the Yacht Rock one just because
The Yacht Rock one
I'm
probably
digging on that one.
musically is because that one was the one that really I couldn't stop singing that one. Like that was
So
just
good.
so good. And by the way, for December, I'm thinking it's going to be some sort of holiday song. Like I have an idea in my head.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I have a holiday sort of Christmas sort of thing in mind. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. I think that's proper.
it could be fun. It could be fun. It could be fun. All right, let's get to our winners and losers, where Joe and I pick a winner from the last week of marketing or a loser from the last week of marketing. Let's see. Would you like to go quickly first with your
I have no link. This is my marketing winner is going to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, and Allegiant Stadium is where the Las Vegas Raiders play. And you and I were talking before the show. My wife and I and our friends, we like doing stadium tours. We like for whatever reason, we like doing tours, and so it's kind of fun. A lot of people tour other things. We tour stadiums, and so we got to do the tour the day before the Browns played, and it's called, like, the nickname for it is the Death Star. And when you walk in, there's a big sign that says "Welcome to the Death Star."
Nice.
And everything, the whole thing on the outside, it looks like a black silver Imperial ship. And you go in, and here's the thing I could not believe. Like, whoever set the branding standards for this thing, they kept to it, and somebody fought really, really hard because almost everything is black and white. You can barely find color. So much so that they have muted sponsorships. Like, you would normally see a colorful sponsor. No, it's their, if they're sponsoring something, it's a black and white representation only in a couple of cases. Their major sponsors are Coors Light, outside of Allegiant, who's got naming rights.
Sure.
Coors Light and Coca-Cola are the two major sponsors. So you're walking through the facility, and all of a sudden everything gets red, which also fits in with the Death Star thing, because, as you know, you got the red lightsaber.
Of course.
I'm like, okay, Coors Light section, red, red, red. And then you get to Coca-Cola, red, red. And I'm like, I was just blown away by that they just kept so like, and I would love you if you went to it, at some point to see that, and if you got that same feeling, because
I would love to see that.
Just from a marketing standpoint, I just love that somebody fought for that and said we're going to do. And by the way, the lights that are hanging look like lightsabers. I don't know. I think that was done on purpose, and you go through, and it's and the other thing is, I think they have 32 different sections where you can get drinks, and most of those are club sections.
Okay.
And the one thing that I wasn't aware of, Wynn has a club. It has a Las Vegas nightclub on the one end zone. I don't know which end zone it is. And you can get in there as part of the game. And I don't know if you're a Wynn player, like that's where you get free access
I'm sure.
and stuff like
I'm
that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
So there's that. And this is is not a marketing thing. So that was my marketing winner. But the other thing is it's real grass. And of course, you're inside a dome.
Yeah.
Like, how does this work? It takes them 30 minutes.
Do they
cart in
one of those retractable things?
It's on wheels.
Yeah.
It's on wheels, and they roll it in. It takes them 30 minutes. It's 19 million pounds.
Yeah.
I think they bring in and out, and it's fascinating.
I think the Indianapolis stadium is that same kind of
they do
deal.
Something similar. So yeah, they take out all the seats of the one section so that they can roll in,
and then they roll it out, and then they water the grass, and
in.
they let the sun shine on it, and all that kind of stuff. They roll it.
It's just, it's kind of fascinating. So, anyways, kudos to the Raiders Stadium concept and what they've been able to do. It's just, I was blown away.
Let me tell you though how that because Coca-Cola being one of the major sponsors, let me tell you how that meeting went. So, meeting opens. All of the Raiders marketing people, branding people are in the room. The Coca-Cola people are in the room, and the Raiders go, okay, here on this slide, you can see our new branding guidelines for the stadium. Everything, all the ads will be in black and white or black and silver. And basically all of your creative that comes to us for hanging will be in black and white or black and silver. Coca-Cola, no. If
that was the case, you would be correct. But the fact is they let the red is within branded guidelines because of the Imperial.
Because of Coca-Cola. No, because of Coca-Cola is why it's red.
And then they said, Coors Light, you can come in too, and red's allowed.
Exactly. You're going to be red. Like the Coors Light's like, no, you'll be red because Coca-Cola is why you're going to be red.
It's pretty. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
Okay. So I have this is a geeky one. I'm going to fully admit that this isn't a lot about marketing. It's much more about tech startups and where we are with the AI bubble and the economy and stuff like that. But it caught my eye. So what I'll link to in the show notes is, and you got to hang with me here because this is definitely tinfoil hat time.
Okay.
So the link in the show notes will be to the Wall Street Journal article, which is announcing that Accenture and Jeffrey Katzenberg, of all people, because he's the head of this group called the Wonder Group, has put $145 million into a new AI marketing startup. Alembic is the name, which sounds like a drug that you would take for eczema, but okay, but it's Alembic, right? Is the name of the startup. And so Alembic is a startup that if you go look at their website and you look at all their stuff, they've been around for a couple of years. They're promising to do this thing called causal AI measurement, which is a very fancy way of basically saying they're going to do like scenario building and see what, is probabilistic in terms of causing things, like conversion rates and advertising and branding. And it's the same thing that we've heard for years and years and years from different measurement companies. Like, we're going to be able to correlate, your every piece of advertising, everything you've ever done to everything so that you have magical measurement powers and all that kind of stuff. So that's nothing new. The pitch isn't anything new, but they put $150 million into this thing. So keep in mind, because I went back and because that caught my eye and I was like, I've never heard of this company. And they're getting $150 million at a $650 million valuation, like $500 million. They're getting a valuation. And I went back and looked last year, the $14 million was their valuation. So they went from $14 million to $650 million in a year. No major announcements, no major breakthroughs, no major stuff. And if you look at all their clients, they tend to be the same people that are putting the investment in, right? Accenture, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a little suspicious at this point. So I'm reading down through the article, the very last paragraph of the article, and I'll just read it. It says, Alembic will use some of its new funding to buy the NVIDIA chips it needs to build a so-called supercomputing cluster in San Jose, California that will complement its initial Virginia-based unit, according to founder and CEO Tomas Puig, I guess his name. NVIDIA was the company's first customer. So NVIDIA is the company's first customer. Just let's sort of store that in your brain for a second.
Yeah, I got you.
And they're going to use all $150 million basically, or some major part of it, to build a data center, to build basically, and to buy NVIDIA chips for their AI thing. So now my red flags are going off all over the place. It's like, okay, I finally get it. And you've been seeing all the sort of circular stuff going around from NVIDIA investing in OpenAI and OpenAI investing in NVIDIA and all of them investing in CoreWeave and all of it. There's all those memes going around right now about how there's all this insider trading. This is the perfect way to hide an investment in AI infrastructure, right? What you do is you find some sexy press release worthy startup, i.e. Alembic, sexy in the way that, causal AI marketing measurement, that'll get press, that'll get the idea. Throw $150 million at it, but basically use that money to invest back into NVIDIA and back into hardware infrastructure that you can sort of just put under the table there and not have to worry about yet more money getting overblown into NVIDIA or yet more money going overblown. In other words, hiding the fact that this is a bubble that's getting ready to pop. And basically all of this infrastructure and all of this, investment gets basically tucked up underneath this sexy startup. And then if you go look at Alembic and you look at the head of, they basically their founder and all the stuff, the founder is a marketing dude. He's a marketing guy that has come up through different things. I think, and here's my conspiracy tinfoil hat, I think this Alembic thing is literally just a front to be able to invest yet more money into the infrastructure of NVIDIA and these data centers that are all getting this bit of money. And it's all just facade. It's all just a facade underneath this. And the reason that makes me suspicious about that is because so much of this is what happened during the .com boom, where you would have these startups with basically a ridiculous business plan. But because it sounded good, it sounded sexy, they would get all this venture money and they would use all that venture money to go buy computing, hosting, infrastructure of things like Cisco and all that kind of stuff. And it was a way to hide those investments into those places in terms of sort of showing a shady business thing. So I'm not saying Alembic is in a shady business. I'm not saying anything to that sort. What I'm saying is that this smells funky. And I'm no investment analyst, but boy, does this like throw up red flags for me.
So this is the modern day dry cleaner.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what you're saying.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been a lot of shady money moving. We talked about the whole AI boom thing, and they need so much money and so much capital, and there's so much flying around. They're doing some things we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
So it's hard to disagree with your conspiracy.
So just watch it. So my fun advice for those who want to put on a tinfoil hat a little bit is to watch Alembic. Like, see what happens with Alembic. Just watch it. Other than the fact that maybe they really do have some sort of causal AI measurement solution that's going to solve the measurement of advertising full stop and do something that no one's been able to do in 125 years, which is to completely solve the marketing measurement, conundrum. But, other than that, I think it's perfectly on the up and up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, let's get quickly to our rants and raves, where Joe and I go off on a little bit of a rant or a little bit of a rave over something that makes us feel like Shedeur Sanders, maybe, or the Stranger Things return, or something that makes us feel a little bit different than that. You go first. You go first with your survey, because then I'll talk about my music thing.
All right, so I was reading the survey results here. This is from the Washington Post, and I'll put the show in the link in the show notes. But it says we analyzed 47,000 ChatGPT conversations. Here's what people are really using it for. So these are for the public ones. So you can't, the private ones they couldn't use, but any of the public ones, they went through the whole thing. And the more and more you read through it, what you find is that people are having very personal and intimate conversations. So here's my little
Yeah. Did you see the character AI basically is going out of business? They're pulling out. Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is I think this is happening more and more. I think that when we used to have conversations with human beings, when we needed to talk about very personal and intimate things, we are using AI to do that now. And my concern, again, my conspiracy theory here is that this will continue. And if it continues at such a rate, we are going to see a drastic decrease in the birth rate in, let's just say, United States, because I'll speak for Americans at this point, that it is going to become a real problem where people will ultimately, I think, get paid money not to be on social media or AI to meet up with other people, because it's going to be that much of a problem. We're already seeing it. There's already comparisons to what happened in Japan with the birth rate and how GDP went down in Japan because of that. And they say that's the first sign of a civilization that's going downhill is the birth rate. We're seeing that happen right now. This is leading into that. This is a huge concern. I think we should all wake up, because instead of people going out and meeting other human beings and hooking up and having kids, they're hooking up with their ChatGPT. I mean, I'm not just saying like a whole thing with character AI. I'm not saying that they're marrying them. I'm saying they're having intimate conversations, and that is taking precedence and priority over human relationships.
I'm
just looking at the data, man.
I'm 100% am with you on this. I mean, I think it's totally, it's an adjacent story, I guess I would say, is
side story.
The wife and I did a little Christmas shopping, and we like to go before it gets like nutty at the malls and stuff like that, because you have the mall experience and it's fun, and it's, sort of see Santa and the whole thing. So we were Christmas shopping. There were no fewer than 5 pop-up stores from brands in this, and lines around the block for these pop-up stores. So these physical experiences are just continue to keep growing and growing and growing. And I just think it's going to become such a huge thing of what we talked about last week on the show, right? With marketing fundamentally changing and the skills of marketers changing into becoming, relationship managers and people managers, right? People, interacting with people, physical experiences. I just think that, I mean, again, maybe this goes back to my sort of Pollyanna, hopeful sort of 1% thing, but I really do believe that's, moving offline and having these interactions with people is the new cool, right? I think that's going to become the new cool, hopefully.
You already got a large group of people that are like hooked into the matrix, if you will.
Yeah.
And you've got a group of people that realize this and say, I need to make changes in my life to make sure that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 kids. I mean, they're adults now, 24 and 22, but they long for human connection more than I ever did.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with human connection. We're the opposite now. We're like, get away, stupid human people.
Right.
We've had enough of you. 50 years of this is enough. I can be by myself the rest of my life. They are not that way. They're like, we grew up plugged into the internet, and we really want these human experiences. And I really do believe that you got a group of people that are going to go after that, which is good, which is needed.
I know. I'm one of them for sure.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. I don't know. It depends on the people. To be honest.
Well, yeah. Really to be clear, this is where I'm focused on my professional side of things. Like I'm still a hermit when it comes to my private side of things, which brings me to my commentary.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So here's the thing. So the link in the show notes that we'll have is this fascinating story this is not what inspired what I'm about to tell you about what I'm up to, but it was like I saw it in my inbox, and I was like, it's sort of like the validation of the wrestling that I'm doing right now. So let me just first tell you about the story. The story is basically, as AI marches into art, humanity is a selling point. And it's basically this article from Axios that talks about this idea that there's an existential dread in the air in Los Angeles, which is true, by the way. I'm hearing from all of my Hollywood employee, the people who are like writers and actors and musicians and directors. There is definitely a feeling of dread about AI right now, because so much of what the studios are pressing for these days is an AI. And they mentioned sort of the actress, that made the headlines, which is not really an actress. It's really just, an AI actress. There's the big thing that's making the headlines this last week is the once again, another AI song made in Suno interestingly, the Axios story gets it wrong. It's not the most downloaded country song. It's the most downloaded paid country song, just like that gospel one was that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So it's an obscure chart, but nonetheless, it's a for real thing to be thinking about it. And the article goes on to talk about that there's a resistance building, which you and I had a lengthy conversation about just, not even 10 minutes ago. So that resistance is what's interesting to me as an artist, as someone who creates stuff for a living. And of course, as you know, as many of the listeners know, my passion for creation that lies outside of marketing is in music. And I've been a musician for, since I was, 9 years old, and started piano lessons and then made a professional career out of it. Career's doing a lot of work in that sentence, but, basically big rock and roll quotes there for a while. Wrote original music, did soundtrack music, did, all kinds of things for, and made a bit of money at it. And a bit I mean a very small amount. So I have sort of AI, the tools, and especially Suno, has rekindled a lot of my passion for it. And I've been actually spending a lot more time taking music that I've written. I've got a whole folder of, I don't know, maybe 100 songs that I've recorded over the last 25 years, most of them from 2003 to 2013, basically, when I really focused on the business and marketing and sort of left music sort of full stop. But there's 100 songs in there that I have. They're all instrumental because I don't sing. They're all mostly keyboard stuff because I play piano. I don't play guitar. And so they're all very simple arrangements or, electronic music of some kind, and et cetera, et cetera. So with that backdrop, I have been playing with Suno, and I saw this stuff happening with the country chart person and then the sort of the gospel chart person. And I went, maybe I should try it. I want to see how hard it is to do that. I want to see what it is to do that. Well, I have created and I'm going to share with the audience here, and I'll share with you once it's ready. It's 90% ready.
Okay.
And I've done all the research in terms of how do I get it distributed on Spotify? How do I get it distributed on Apple Music? I know how to do that now. It's very cheap, very easy to do that. I'm not sure about marketing it. This is where I'm wrestling with it, which is I created, her name is Lila Hightower is her name. She's a country western singer. I gave her, I have a whole background for her. I have a whole, she's got a band that she fronts. Then I've got all the members of the band. They've got images. I've been able to create pictures of them on stage. I've been able to create, to create music videos. I've got her as a persona in my Suno. So we've currently got 6 songs recorded. I'm going to try for 9 before I actually release the album. Now, here's all the thing. I'm ready to roll with this thing. And every single day, and it's my music, by the way. I'm not using it I'm not putting in a prompt.
So it's your music, and you're adding in
my lyrics
that you can't perform yourself.
Correct. And basically what it's doing is that it's taking my piano song, and I take the piano song, which has got melody and it's got my lyrics, and I upload that into Suno, And out of that, it creates the guitar part, the bass part, the drum part. And there's a slider, like, how much do I want it to change? How much do I want it to stay the same? For the most part, I've been saying, stay very true to the actual song. And it does. It's really good at doing that. But it's also really good at adding stuff that I don't know how to do, like a guitar part or a saxophone part or a steel guitar part, and all those kinds of things. And it's adding that accompaniment very nicely. And then it can output what are called stems, which are basically the individual tracks. And I can go in and edit those things, right? I don't really like this guitar part here. I want to change it. And basically I can edit it and play with it in GarageBand and basically get it the way I want it. What I'm wrestling with, and I'm truly wrestling with this, is, and I'm going to, as a continued experiment, I'm going to do the Spotify thing, and I'm going to release it, and I'm going to talk about it on social media, and I'm going to do all of that. I'm convinced I'm going to do all of that. Where I wrestle with it is, how do I feel about it? I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. The tension is there, which makes me feel honestly very creative, because that tension is there. That the tension between, am I using a tool to just create something of my own, or am I faking it, or is this not right, or is it right? And, I've been playing the songs for Elizabeth, my wife, and she's like, yeah, those are good. I mean, she's being nice because they're my songs and stuff, but I'm really, really struggling with it. And I'm weird to say, I'm enjoying this struggle. I'm enjoying this tension. And honestly, so when I do all this, I'm just going to be interested to see the reaction, I guess, is my point. And maybe that's the art of it. Maybe that's the art of it, is the do it now while it can still be done and still is relatively innovative. But boy, it's been an interesting process. I'll just say that.
I can't wait to listen to it. And I think that your struggle is well-founded. I have this, I use ChatGPT as my consigliere, if you will, every day. I use Whisper Flow. I talk to it. My prompts are like 5 minutes long. Yeah, I talk to it and I say, here's what I'm looking for. What do you think? This and the whole thing. And then Whisper's great because I send it and I'm like, I get this response back and I do feel guilty about it. Like, I'm like, that used to be a human being I used to talk to. But here's the benefit of it. And here's where I think you're at, is I wouldn't be doing certain things right now if it wasn't for these tools.
Exactly.
And this would never have been created if it wasn't.
Exactly.
And there's so much humanity to your songwriting. You would not have gotten a band together.
What I really wrestle with is this, is it again, coming back to our conversation earlier, it does feel like a spectrum, right? It feels like a spectrum. And if I were just going to Suno and basically, if I was just going to ChatGPT and saying, give me the lyrics to the song, right? And then I paste that into Suno and then I go, just give me a song that matches these lyrics. And I don't care about anything else. I would feel a lot worse about that. That feels like faking it to me.
Yeah.
But actually taking the time to take, and by the way, with those, hundreds of songs that I have in my little folder on my computer that haven't seen the light of day since 2008 and 2009. And in there are Microsoft Word documents that are the lyrics for some of those songs that I always envisioned. And, and I'm changing them now to make them a little more modern, a little more up to date, a little more, I'm editing them because some of them feel very cringy, but from my, my poet side of things, my emo, mid-20s side of things. And so I'm changing them up a little bit, but I'm writing the lyrics. It's my melody. It's in many ways my music, but it's not my production. It's not my voice. It's not my, so where I go, well, is that any different than basically giving that over to a cover band and saying, basically cover my song and bring it back to me? And in many ways it's not, but of course in many ways it is, because giving it to a cover band means that I'm giving it to humans to put their interpretation on it.
Sure.
And am I riding on the back of other artists and getting that service, if you will, for free? I'm paying money for it, of course, but it's not totally free, but it's that work. Now I am doing work. I'm editing it. I'm producing it. I'm changing up the mix. So there are many parts that are really inserting me into it, but in so many ways, I'm also, I don't know. It's a true struggle. It's really, really interesting to me.
I hear you. I mean, as you know, my brother's a professional musician.
Yeah.
And he's struggling. I mean, he's living in this world.
Yeah.
Now. And so but I absolutely see both sides. It's just, but I'm happy for you. I really am curious and interested to see what you've come up with already great stuff. I mean, I know it's going to be good. Yeah, I want to know, I think we could hit it big. I want to be Lila's manager. I want to go.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I've got a website ready to go. I've got her Spotify
that's
channel.
The thing is, the marketing side,
right? I got the brand. I've got her logo. I've got the album cover, which has been
ready to
so
go.
much
fun. When are you doing this?
It will happen in December. I will have. I'm almost done with it, and then I want to make it a big splashy thing, and sort of I'll announce it on the show for sure. Probably in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's announce it on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that would be fun. That would be totally fun.
Put it in the newsletter. Yeah, well, I mean, these are the things that I think that we as marketers and content creators need to be dealing with right now.
Lila Ray Hightower. Lila Ray.
I guess we'll only know what was right a year from now or 2 years from now.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe never. Maybe it's always a spectrum.
Yeah. I don't know. It's. Yeah, but living in the tension has rekindled my art, my passion for music. That part I do know. The fact that I'm having the best, most fun time doing it. It is really fun.
Good for you.
Yeah,
good for you. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go create some stuff, man.
There we go. All right. Well, I guess Thanksgiving, and I mean, by this time the show is aired, Thanksgiving is over, but. What do you got next week?
Well, first of all, my thanks and gratitude to our listeners. If you made it this long in this podcast, and you get extra credit because this was one of those. I have a good time. I love it when we argue a little bit, but I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for our audience. I'm thankful for my family. So tough year. I think a tough year for a lot of people, but a lot to be thankful for. And I think if we keep our eyes on that, I think everything is going to be. If we keep an eye on the other, we're going to be okay. Everything's going to turn out okay. So
that's 100% right.
What do you? Anything you got?
No, my note on gratitude will come out on Monday. So there you go. So it's funny that it's great minds think alike. It says exactly what you just said. If we have gratitude, it's a power, and if we just take care of each other, everything's going to be okay. Even in a world where you feel like you don't control a lot right now, and you feel guilty about that. The fact that you should be doing more in the world to see change in the world, caring is something.
Yeah. Well, as Walt Disney always said and talked about, you control the things you can control.
Yeah.
You control those variables. That's it. And everything else, you just got to let go, see what happens. So. All righty.
All right. Well, thank you for all of you hanging around. We hope you have a lovely time with those of you in the U.S. that are celebrating with your family this weekend. Get out to a small business. That's always a great thing to do this weekend, and support a small business. And until we see you next week with another regular episode, just remember, everybody, it's your story to tell. You tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing. Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.